Hey, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to tackle a really big topic, the refugee claim process. I know, it can sound super daunting, but our whole goal here is to give you a clear, step-by-step guide so you can navigate it with confidence. Look, seeking refugee protection is a huge, monumental step, and you might be sitting there thinking, where do I even begin? It's totally overwhelming, we get that. But you're not in this alone. Think of this explainer as your roadmap. We're going to walk you through it. Okay, so here's how we've laid it all out for you in 5 parts. We'll start with the big picture, your journey to safety. Then we'll get into crafting your story, building your case with evidence, what to expect in the interview, and finally, your path forward. All right, Section 1, a journey to safety. Let's start right here. It's really helpful to think of this not as just some bureaucratic checklist, but as your own personal journey towards safety and hopefully a new beginning. Okay, moving on to crafting your narrative. Now, this is so important. Your personal story, it's the absolute foundation, the very heart of your claim. It has to be clear, it has to be detailed, and really well organized. This is your chance to lay it all out, what happened and why you need protection. So how do you do that? Well, to make your story as powerful as it can be, you'll want to structure it around these 5 key areas. You start with an intro, you know who you are. Then you dive into the history of persecution, the specific things that happened. You got to explain the threats you're facing right now and why you can't just move to another part of your own country. And finally, if you have them, you add any compassionate grounds like family ties. All right, on to Section 3, building your case. This is where it gets really interesting because a powerful story is one thing, but evidence, that's what brings it to life. It's what makes it solid. So let's talk about what kind of proof you'll need. Yeah, and this is the bottom line, really. Evidence is absolutely critical to validate your claim. Think of it like this. Your story is the car, but the evidence is the fuel that makes it go. It connects what you're saying to reality and makes your claim so much stronger. And you've actually got a lot of different types of evidence you can pull from. We're talking medical records if you were injured, maybe psychological assessments. You can use news articles or Human Rights Watch reports that show what the conditions are like in your country. And what about police in action? Well, witness statements can help there. Even things like letters of support from family or church leaders, or something as simple as photos of injuries or screenshots of threats. All of it can be incredibly powerful. Okay, so you've got your story, you've got your evidence. Let's move on to the more formal part of the process, the eligibility interview. This is a huge moment where you present your case in person, so being prepared is everything. So before you even get to the questions, there are a few admin steps you'll go through. They'll take your fingerprints and a digital photo. And then, if you're found eligible to even make a claim, you might get a work permit and a social insurance number, which, let me tell you, are absolutely vital for starting a new life here. Okay, so once all that paperwork stuff is done, the interview itself begins. And now the spotlight is completely on you and your story. The whole point of these questions is for them to understand who you are and why you're seeking protection. They're going to start with the basics, the foundational stuff. Questions to establish your identity and background. They'll ask you to confirm your full name, your date of birth, where you're from, and some details about your family and how you travel here. And then you get to the big one. Why did you leave your home country? This is it. This is where all that hard work preparing your narrative really pays off. It's your moment to clearly and confidently lay out the core reasons for your claim. Now, they're going to dig into the specifics. They'll ask things like, have you or your family been threatened or harmed? You need to be ready to talk about the details, the who, what, when, and where of those events. This next one is absolutely crucial. They'll ask if you were able to get protection from the authorities back home, and if not, why not? This is where you have to explain why the government or the police in your country were either unable or, in some cases, unwilling to protect you. And it's not just about the past. The interview is also going to focus on the future. They need to understand what would happen to you if you were sent back. What do you think will happen? This is where you connect all those past events to your very real fear of what could happen next. Okay, let's wrap this all up in our final section, your path forward. We've gone through the story, the evidence, the interview. Now, let's boil it all down to the most important takeaways for you. So if you remember anything, remember these 4 pillars for a strong claim. 1, tell a clear, logical story. 2, gather strong evidence to back it all up. 3, be ready for the kinds of questions they're going to ask. And 4, and this is maybe the most important, Be consistent and be truthful. Your credibility is everything in this process.
At the end of the day, just remember this. This whole process, it all centers on you, on your personal experience. Your story is your most powerful asset, so prepare it, own it, and be ready to tell it.